Welcome back to the Rabbit Hole. Today we have a special guest, Dylan Woodman. Here we're going to talk about the coronavirus, vaccinations with dialysis patients, and other things of that nature.
Dylan, welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys.
So, tell me, what was it like? Because you were one of the first dialysis patients.
As far as I'm aware, yeah.
To get the first round of the vaccine. How did that go? Like, what was it? Was there any expectations? Were you afraid?
I mean, you can't really go into it expecting much because, if you go into it expecting something to happen, something's going to happen. You go into it open-minded. So I thought, but everybody's different. I know people that have had reactions. I had a reaction. Ended up in the hospital. I was only there for maybe 2.5 hours, something like that.
So
it wasn't too bad.
when did you have the reaction, like in comparison to when you first took the vaccine? Was it like days later, or?
Oh no, so I believe they give it to me, I believe 6:30.
Yeah.
And by 7 o'clock, I was having wicked
Really?
headache, was dizzy.
That fast?
Wow.
So was it like delirium, where you have like vertigo?
Yeah, I would say more along the lines of vertigo.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what I've heard online, that like some people get vertigo, or some people have like real bad muscle soreness.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, with the second one, my body hurt so bad. I was almost in bed for a full day. Oh yeah.
The second round?
Mm-hmm.
How much how many days in between, like the first shot and the second shot? Because there's
3 weeks.
Is it just 2 rounds?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it 3 rounds?
No, it's 2.
It's just 2?
Yeah, 2.
So between those, it's 3 weeks between each shot?
Yeah, so you get the first one, then you gotta wait 3 weeks. And then
So were you feeling bad? Like you were having like symptoms
3 weeks?
over those 3 weeks?
Over those 3 weeks? No. It probably went away within 2 days. 2 days.
Right.
But, I didn't feel great.
Yeah.
Right.
It's crazy that it hit you that quickly, though.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the body's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
It moves so quick.
But you gotta think too of my situation with dialysis too. My immune system's not as strong as your guys.
Right.
So
let's explain that. You're a dialysis patient, and you're there 3 times a week, right?
3 times a week. 3 times a week, 4 hours at a time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And where do you go to dialysis?
In Biddeford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bedford, Maine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember me and Jimmy brought you there one time.
A couple of times. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Coming
Right
up on
next
5
to the.
years. Right next to the hospital. Yeah.
Right next to the hospital where you work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also right next to the place where we started to go to get cannabis legally for the first time ever. What's that?
That's right, Canuvo.
Canuvo, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It is pretty crazy that like Maine, out of all states, because Maine demographically is very, very old. It's one of the oldest states in the union, and it's very white, so that typically falls along that kind of more conservative lines. That Maine was one of the first states in the union to completely legalize marijuana.
Oh, yeah.
It's shocking to me. I never saw it coming.
Oh yeah, it's used in the medical world more than we know.
Right.
Well, it's our highest GDP right now.
Right.
For Maine, our exports went from potatoes and blueberries from like up in the county, like Presque Isle, to marijuana is our #1 export.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
It's
I
crazy.
believe it. Mm-hmm.
That's what we were saying before they legalized it. Obviously, everyone's going to at some point. That there's going to be pushback here and there,
Right.
more in
Right.
some states than others, for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
But
And a lot of the dispensary owners up here are coming from Massachusetts, Connecticut, and all those
right.
places.
there's a lot of money in that stuff.
Oh yeah.
So much money.
One thing I can't figure out though is how do they like secure that, like with security? Because you can't have like armed security and marijuana in the same place. Like federally, that's big no-no.
Yeah, not a good look.
So how would they do their security? Is it like cameras? Is it
I think it's
an
just
alarm
cameras.
system?
A lot of the dispensaries I've been to are mostly cameras and alarms.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah, you can't.
Because I know you look at like other, like if you have like big farms, they can hire security that just does like an overnight little like drive around a couple times every hour.
Mhm.
But you can't do that here. Not with, you could do it if you have like a huge potato farm, like if you grow for like Tyson or something.
Right.
A lot of like farmers, they'll get a contract with like Tyson meats, like the buffalo tenders and like the chicken tenders, or they'll like get some sort of contract.
Yeah.
So as far as that goes with marijuana, can't federally under federal law you can't have like armed security. Right.
But technically, if it's on your property and you own that land, regardless of what's on that land, it's your right to protect it.
It's yours.
Yeah, true. But that being said, it's a business.
It just needs to be legal.
It doesn't.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
they just gotta let go of it.
Since it's a business, you can fall. It's
I know.
under like a different kind of law.
Yeah.
I mean, what damage does it do? Show me one death from marijuana.
Right.
I haven't.
Where someone wasn't acting stupidly afterward, because
Right.
people would smoke and get into car accidents and
Yeah.
do things that aren't the
Right.
best judgment.
Right, but I mean, like, if we were to just light up right here sitting on the couch, there's no way somebody is going to hit a joint guy.
Right.
No.
Yeah. No.
And this is the thing. Federally, they still regulate it on like the same level as like heroin,
Really?
or like it's like a processed it's
Well-
a Schedule W drug.
That's true.
Schedule W drug. It's like the same thing as heroin federally.
But what
But
is
it's like you got people who deal heroin, or people that deal meth, or people that deal PCP, which shit like kills people, like
Yeah.
that. And then people who deal weed.
That's crazy to think.
That's
Right.
insane.
Well, did you see out in California,
insane.
they're like it's either legalizing or decriminalizing it. So they can stop sending people to prison and encourage them to go to like rehab.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. I like seeing people like Kim Kardashian, like as ridiculous as her whole stigma is, her being a lawyer and going and getting people out that were, put in for weed charges.
Yeah.
The whole 3-strike policy when Clinton was had his war on drugs, you get caught with
Clinton
is that
or
weed on
Reagan?
your shirt? You smell like pot. Yeah,
Is that
and
Clinton
that's
or
first
Reagan?
strike.
Yeah.
Because Reagan
or
started.
Clinton, one of
Reagan
them.
started like DARE, like that old program.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember.
I mean Clinton started like the war on
As a
drugs.
kid. Doing the whole DARE programs.
Yeah, their program where you'd have Thornton come in.
I miss
Yeah.
that stuff though.
But dude, the 3-strike policy was if they deem you to have a strike, whatever the cop thinks is enough to give you that first reprimandment and a strike on your card, you get 2 more chances. And after those 2 more chances, I caught you with weed last time, so I'm gonna check everything in your car. And if you have anything that looks anything like weed paraphernalia or weed itself, that's strike 2, and you're probably gonna go spend some time in jail. And then when you get out,
So this is what? This is across the nation. This is federal.
oh yeah, this was how they treated it when weed was completely
No
illegal,
shit.
and no one was even thinking about saying like, oh, it should be medical. Like, really, you want to sit in a fucking cell?
One thing
That's
you
how
gotta-
they were thinking
one thing you
about it.
gotta
But 3rd
consider-
strike was 25 to life.
Holy shit.
25 to life, like you murdered someone, or were selling like fentanyl and heroin at a massive scale or something.
The thing that's crazy
That's
too is
insane.
the war on drugs. Like it's not just around here. There was like CIA, FBI, and ATF agents that were like in Colombia, in Brazil, in places where there was huge cocaine productions. Peru especially. Colombia, Peru, Brazil. Sorry, Colombia, Brazil, Peru.
Yeah.
Brain fart.
Yeah.
But you look at guys like just drug lords in general in that area. It's a huge change from how drugs are handled over here. They're so corrupt over there.
Who was it that was saying when they were trying to get into office? It was pretty recent. They were saying that they were going to go to Mexico and help Mexico fight their war on drugs. And there was something about that just recently. Not within the past couple of years, but within the past few terms of different presidents.
Yeah.
Someone was saying when they were trying to get into the White House,
Was
they
it
were
like
saying
the last? Was it like the last election? Was it one of the?
No. This
not
was
not to re-elect Trump or vote Biden. But it was Trump versus Clinton.
I don't even think it was that long ago. I think it was further than that. It was like
Really?
Obama or before Obama.
It's like Bush. Obama.
Someone was saying war on drugs once again
Yeah.
because most of the drugs are coming over the border from Mexico.
Right.
And they were saying, okay, we're going to crack down on that. We're going to go into Mexico, help Mexico fight off the cartels.
Holy shit.
And the cartels
are nuts.
The cartels
Dude, the cartels.
did not put their tail between their legs. They made a phone call and they said, listen, I heard about your plan and you can do that, but if you want to do that, it's going to be a fucking gunfight on every street block. People will die. People will be kidnapped. People will be murdered. There will be war in the streets. And they pretty much said all all those drugs that we already have lines for to get into your country, that are gonna get into your country whether you like it or not, we're gonna fill that with fentanyl. We're gonna fill that with fucking just shit that's gonna kill everyone. Anyone who had any addiction of any sort, cocaine, heroin, if you did it once at a party and you got the wrong shit, dead. Fucking seized out. Good night.
And this was the cartel.
This was the Mexican cartel saying like, and they did do it. Clearly, there's still fentanyl in shit. Like you think people in the U.S. are doing that? Probably a little bit, but I would say most of that is probably still coming over the border.
And the thing is, those guys, it's not like weed dealers around here or stuff like that, where they're mostly small guys. Those guys they're big time. They're armed up, dude. They got like trucks. They've got Humvees. They've got like full auto like machine guns that they stole from like the Mexican military.
Like, dude,
they haul shipment crates.
Like, it would be like Desert Storm. It would be like war. This is war. Like we need tanks, we need airstrikes, we need like tactical.
They're literally like a drug army.
Yeah,
it's insane.
They run Mexico.
With people who are all fueled up on drugs, who have grown up with them their whole life. I'll protect you to the last bullet.
That's mostly PCP. Like a lot of their fighters, they do coke or PCP because they can't feel the pain.
That's insane.
You like watch like you read like police reports of like shootouts with cartel members, like down in like Texas or like around the Texas border. These guys can take like a whole mag to the chest and just stand up and keep fighting until they bleed out.
Yeah.
Well, it's like back in World War II when Hitler gave his soldiers, what was it, meth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Coca-Cola. Which is the chocolate, and then the Panzer Division guys got Panzer Chocolade, which was the meth chocolate. Those were the guys on like the Eastern Front.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being in like a Tiger 2, like freezing your butt off in this crappy ass like Tiger 2, dude? Like not the later models, not a Panther, not that. You're just freezing to death in Russia. You're like, oh, at least I have meth in my chocolate.
Yeah.
But it's fucked up. Because he was giving it to those guys because he was fueling them for his blitzkrieg tactics that no one had ever seen before.
Dude, I was reading up on the Battle of the Ardennes, when Hitler the Ardennes in France, and basically took France in like 2 weeks. It's insane the amount of territory they covered in a day. It's stupid. Dude, they didn't stop.
No.
They didn't stop. They would literally have like truck brigades that would come behind them and set up like small camps after the battle. And if you were tired, you were probably out for like 3 days, sleeping and like fighting, like, you know, just doing soldier shit consistently. You go back to your tent, sleep for a day, get warm food, and then go back out. Those blitzkrieg dudes are fucking nuts.
That's
nuts. But that's how we took all of Europe.
Yeah.
And when we pushed through the Ardennes,
Clearly.
that's what caused the British, because the British were with the French at the French line, the Maginot Line, which was the old Maginot Line. Hitler pushed through the Ardennes and cut them all off. You know, Dunkirk, the escape from Dunkirk, that was after the Ardennes. Because the British were cut off and they had nowhere to go except for across the channel. So they had to like bring in boats and bring them back to the mainland, like the main UK.
Imagine being that last boat out.
Yeah.
Dude,
like fighting as you're taking steps back, fucking bullets whizzing by you as planes are strafing your boat. Might not even have a boat. I don't know. Just trying
they didn't have any British air superiority over them.
No.
It was just naval, and they were like escape ships. So you can imagine these guys with Lee Enfields and Stens and Brens, and they're trying to fight off like 109s and like Stukas and shit flying around the air. That's a sketchy situation.
Which
that's scary as fuck.
And Blitzkrieg still hasn't stopped. It's still moving towards you. It already cut you the fuck off, and you know it's right across the city. Like. You got
guys that are
dude.
still out there that are behind enemy lines, setting up like sappers, guys who like blow bridges and like blow roads so they can't. Yeah, a lot of those guys got captured.
Yeah,
the sappers because they got left behind when the boats left.
Oh yeah.
So they blew the bridges, but.
And then you're gonna get tortured to death because you made it hard for us to get to you.
Oh yeah, no, it's bad.
Yeah, you're gonna get tortured to death. That's it.
Although to be honest, I would rather be. If I was an Allied soldier in World War II, I would rather be captured by the Germans than captured by the Japanese.
You know
Well,
you know in the beginning, they actually treated their prisoners with like pristine, like they were really nice to them. They fed them.
The Japanese?
Yeah. At the very beginning.
But after when the war kicked off, it got.
Once it got bad.
Right, because
it was like
you're reading a book, right? What's that book called?
Pacific Crucible, I believe.
Yeah. Who's the author?
I don't remember.
That's about the naval battles, right?
Yeah, the entire naval operation
book
over
over
in the
here?
Pacific.
What's over here?
Yeah, right here.
Ian W. Toll.
Yeah.
It's called Pacific Crucible.
Yeah. Let me see.
It's a great book.
Yeah.
Almost finished the second one.
I'll tell you what's crazy about
That's a nice
those.
book too. I like the
You look
cover
at the Zeros, like the Mitsubishi A6M
They
Zeros.
whooped everything up
Dude,
until after Midway.
Up until the Corsairs came in and like P-51Ds and Hellcats, dude, the Zero ruled the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Evil.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Evil. Fast. It's just that obviously you went up too high of a pitch, you'd stall out, but dude, fast. If you came in, a little
Yeah.
boom and zoom.
They were the first ones to have compressed oil as well, so that when you pulled the negative G, it didn't cut your engine off.
Really?
Yeah, because in the early biplanes in early World War II, if
That
you
was a
dip the
rotary,
nose
wasn't it?
too much, that's why you would see dive bombers
Right,
flip
you'll
the
start
plane
at the
before
end.
they dive, because if you just dive like this, not only are you being lifted out of your seat in a negative G, but your fucking oil is also being lifted off the bottom, and that bladder is getting thrown to the
No
roof,
shit.
and
So
so
the
the engine,
when like
the-
a Stuka or like
Yeah.
something like that, when it pitches up
yeah,
and down,
and it dives
Yeah.
like that.
that's
it
to
dives,
keep it so the oil doesn't rise
right,
up.
because that force will keep it down, and it will allow the engine to continue working like it should.
I thought it was fuel starvation.
Fuel starvation, oil starvation, whatever it may be. It was probably fuel. You're probably right, but yeah.
Either way, it was starvation or something.
Hmm. Until they had, and everyone eventually
Was that
got 'em.
Zero? Was that a rotary, or was that like a V10, a V12?
No, it was the typical plane engine, but I can't remember. It talks about it in there,
Yeah,
but they
right.
pretty much whooped everything.
With like the 3 pistons.
right.
And
I
they
think
go
so,
around. Yeah.
Mhm. I know that it said they only made like 1,000 horsepower, which is why towards the end of the war, like the middle, they were so just outdated.
They had snorkels too, right? So that once they got up to a certain altitude, there was like this little thing that came off the side of the canopy. You
What?
you can see it sometimes. Yeah, they're called snorkels, and that was how they
For,
had
like,
altitude
vision?
advantage all the time,
Oh no shit.
because their planes could fly higher than everyone else's.
Right.
Because they up at a certain altitude, your plane starts having a hard time to breathe, and fucking you don't have
Right.
the
Right.
compression of air below you to keep you stable, so you keep dropping and shit and fucking. But they could fly higher than
So
everyone
what?
else.
Like almost like depressurizes it.
Well, I'm not sure what it does. I'm sure it's a sort of forced induction, kind of like a big turbo or
Like
something.
a ram.
Yeah, something like that.
Right.
So
Because
that
I
once
know
you
we were
get
talking
thin
about the
air, you can
190
still
earlier.
push it.
We were talking about the 190 earlier.
It's
and
probably the same
how
kind
the,
of thing, right?
the induction would cool because they
Mhm.
had like an armored like oil cooler. It was like a ring around
Right.
the front
Yep.
of the engine. It was like one of the only planes to do that. And because of that, they could run so much ram air, and it could run better with less air at higher altitudes than like the P-51.
Mhm.
P-51 at like war emergency power. If you shut off that ram, it's you can get up to 17,000 feet, but that's it. With the 190, you go up to like 33.
P-51s weren't even that good.
No.
The early ones were fucking hideous,
Awful.
dude.
You have to
They-
go with like a late, like 44, 45 was
Yeah.
where the P-51 really shined.
Yeah.
And Korea.
They used to escort bombers halfway because
Right, they couldn't make
they
it.
had no way to keep the fuel to go with them all the way. So
Right.
and we're
It's
gonna
a
go
good,
refuel.
it's a good short attack plane.
Right.
Like short range attack plane. If you were to take off at an airfield and go somewhere,
Mhm.
attack and then come back, that's a good plane for
Well,
that. But
maybe-
not for bomber defense. You want
No.
something that's got decent size, decent capacity. So
You know
you can
who
fly
had
long.
good bomber defense? The fucking Russians. During
Yeah.
the Soviet Union, they had fucking bomber defense. The MiG-19, the MiG-21.
Oh, so we're talking
the
later,
MiG-23s.
like Cold War era.
Yeah, like Cold War. Yeah.
Well, the 31, the MiG-31 Foxhound, was
Yeah.
the only plane. I mean, people say like the SR-71 was incatchable.
Mhm.
Like, guy who flew the MiG-31.
Almost fucking got it.
Yeah, the guy who flew the MiG-31. He's like, yeah, I know why that thing's in a museum.
But the sad part is, those pilots, worst case scenario, they just kick the throttle up. That's all they have to do, and
Yeah.
they just outrun your missile. So it's
Yeah.
to
Well,
them,
those
they're
were,
laughing. You're like, yeah, I shot at it, and they're
Yeah.
just laughing like,
See you later. Yeah.
gone.
Those scramjets they have on the Blackbird.
Pratt and Whitney engines.
Yeah, they are, aren't they?
They are, yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
How many did you say they
The
built?
F100 had Pratt and Whitney
Like
engines.
12 or 21 or
What is it?
how many did they build?
12.
12 of them. So
They're
20,
expensive. as
24
shit.
engines.
They're expensive as shit, dude.
Oh yeah.
That's insane.
So that's like the B2. They're like, what, $4 billion a plane?
Oh, the stealth bomber?
Yeah.
Yeah. The B2 Spirit, the one that's literally just a delta.
Yeah.
Like a delta and then
Yeah.
like a square at the back.
That was hands down the best part of the Super Bowl, aside Tom Brady winning his 7th ring.
Dude.
Was that flyover.
Yeah.
B2,
That was
B1, and
awesome.
B52.
That was so cool.
That was
Yeah.
cool.
I've always liked the B-52, the Stratofortress, the huge bomber.
Mhm.
The one that's got 4 engines on each side.
I know.
It's like,
badass.
holy shit. That's a lot of
That's
power.
badass.
That's carrying a lot
Also,
of shit.
by the way, Pratt and Whitney engines. It's like every like jet you see, you're like, oh, that's GE for sure,
Right.
Because most jets are actually GE engines, like General Electric.
So like,
But then when you see
F-16
one that's like, wow, that one's impressive. What's that one? Oh, it's Pratt.
Yeah.
Like it's always Pratt and Whitney that has the first supersonic like really intercept fighter, the F-100.
Yep.
Mhm.
That was a Pratt and Whitney engine. That was revolutionary. The
Yeah.
SR-71 engines were
Yeah.
revolutionary.
Those are scrams, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And obviously you see like the F-35 and the F-22. F-22 is insane. It can kill its pilot with its engines because they're so friggin'
The
powerful.
Raptor.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's nuts.
I think it's like 45,000 pounds of thrust that thing
On the
makes.
Raptor?
Yeah, or like 50.
Okay, but you know what's a
55,
cool-
something like that.
You know what's a cool jet, Cold War era that was US, was like early? The 104 Starfighter.
You think
Yeah.
so? I was
Dude,
thinking
with like the
105.
short, like squarish wings, and it's got the two.
That thing sounds demonish when
Dude,
it goes
it
by.
does. It sounds like a starship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sick as hell. I kind of want to get one and like.
Kind of want to get one. Isn't that what they make those rocket cars if they run on the salt
Yeah,
flats on?
Probably, yeah.
I kind of want to get one like a model of it. They make like jet
That would be
models that are like
ridiculous.
they're like that big, and you can run them off of like. Yeah, most of them are electric off of a motor, but it's still a turbine. It's just
Yeah.
an electric turbine. There's some of them they make that run off of 2-stroke.
Oh,
Huh.
Dude, they're
That
all
would
metal.
be
They do
insane.
like 400 miles an hour. It's
Oh my
fucking
God.
stupid.
Mhm.
It's stupid. They're so expensive though. They're like easily. It's like something you would build over like half your lifetime.
Yeah.
It's
That's
like
crazy.
20 or 30 grand.
Oh my god.
But it's huge. It's if I laid it out, like if we had the back part of it at the wall. We'll say at the
To
wall.
me?
Mhm.
Yeah, if we had the engine at the back part of the wall, it would probably be another 3 feet behind you.
Wow.
Dude, fucking huge.
What is it?
Didn't your grandfather build RC planes and
Yeah, you
stuff?
still got a bunch. Mhm.
Yeah.
They're not like gas powered or anything like that, but they're electric, yeah. Mhm.
My
He's
brother-
got a C-130, doesn't he?
No, I forget what
What
that
is
one is. It is a C. It's not a like military plane, but it's like a
Cargo.
float plane. Yeah,
Oh, nice.
That's
pretty
awesome.
neat.
My brother got into those, the real nice like RC cars, like the Traxxas cars.
Mhm.
Like the ones, dude, he's got one of them. The U something. It's a side-by-side, like trophy truck.
Mhm.
Huge. It's like a 1/8 scale. UDR. That's what it is. Ultimate Desert Racer. The
Oh,
thing's
yeah.
like orange and white.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, it's like a trophy truck. It runs off of 2 11-volt lipos at the same time.
Wow.
The thing is stupid.
Extreme.
The suspension, dude, you could take the thing, pick it up, and literally just throw it at the ground, just eats it. It's just
That's insane.
smooth as fuck. They're cool as shit. I want to get
They're a lot
one.
of fun.
I want to get one, but I want to get one of the old dirt bike ones. With the
Yeah.
guy on top, and it's got like the clear side
Mhm.
wheels, so it's like
Mhm.
the electric dirt bikes.
Mhm.
You know, at the airport, they actually have a dirt track for those.
My brother built one with his
Did
friend. Dude, at his friend Palmer, his friend Palmer, his house, they built a track in his backyard. It's
That's
sick as
cool.
shit. I went there for one of the build days. It's sick.
Mhm.
Really?
It's huge. It's like the size of like half the parking lot.
Mhm.
That's cool.
They set up like like stadium seating kind of like thing with like the grass.
Mhm.
So they have like a platform up on like the hill where you can bank in,
Yeah.
and then they put a big pallet on top of it. They put chairs up there and race them.
No shit.
Dude, it's so fucking cool. It's really the coolest thing I've seen in a while.
That's awesome.
That's
Oh, yeah.
Sweet. Where is this?
It's kind of I'm not sure if it's like Sanford or Alfred, but
Oh, okay.
it's at my brother's friend's house.
Makes me want to get a car now, like an RC car.
Yeah.
I do. Dude, I've been looking at
I
it
got a
online.
I got a 2020 Corvette
Dude,
over
go
there.
get that thing. That thing is sick.
No. The thing, it's fun. It's a nice
got lights,
little
too,
RC
right?
car, yeah. But,
More of a road car.
yeah, my mom got it for me for Christmas, and it just made me laugh because it's like she doesn't want to let go of the, you're my boy, use the fucking RC car, right?
Yeah.
Like, that was what I saw with it. It was funny.
That's how they are, though.
Oh, yeah.
They'll never let go.
Oh, no.
See, I kind of prove it to my mom, though. She'd be like, oh, like, I was like, yeah, I saved up for this for a while. You know, it's something nice. I've kind of wanted one for a while. She's like, oh, what is it? Probably thinking it's like something cool. I was like, it's a fucking lightsaber. I'm like, yeah, I'm 23, but
Dope lightsaber, though.
it is sick. I do want to bring it onto the podcast soon. Fully charged up. show all
Yeah,
the
explain what it
features.
is again.
It's called a NeoPixel. So instead of like the lightsabers you see at the store, right, and like the blade extends out
Yeah, it's
into
like a
different
plastic
portions. It's like a
tubing.
clear plastic, and then they've got like a LED in the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
They make like nice ones of those too, and they have like big LEDs, so it's like super indestructible. This one is more of like a show saver,
Oh,
because that one is just 2 or 3 LEDs in a little pouch, and then the blade's empty. This one, the blade, the NeoPixels, they have like LED strips
Oh, okay.
all the way up the blade.
That's
So like when you
cool.
turn it on, instead of it just like clicking on or flashing, it goes.
Right.
Mhm.
And then when you turn it off, it goes.
That's cool.
Dude, it's sick. It's RGB. I can change the color no matter, like, doesn't matter what I want. It goes through an RGB wheel, like on a
That's
color
cool.
selector on a computer.
That's cool.
So, and it's got 6 different sound fonts I can
So
change
you
through.
just plug it in?
Yeah. You could press the button when it's on and like move it, and it does a blaster deflect, so it plays like the pew, and then it
That's
turns
cool.
white and deflects the bullet. It's
That's
cool, dude.
cool.
I want to bring it on the show now.
Mm.
It'd be
You
sick.
should. You should.
We should maybe make it as a prop.
You ever listen to like scientists talk about movies, or like guys who were really in war talk about like war movies or things
Yeah.
like that?
A little
Like,
bit, yeah.
yeah, I was listening to Neil deGrasse Tyson talk about Star Wars, and he was saying how the blaster rifles, if they're really shooting plasma lasers,
It'd be as fast as light.
yeah, they should travel at light speed, which you
Right.
wouldn't see them. Let alone be able to fucking pew pew pew
Right,
deflect
yeah.
a bolt.
It would be
fucking
like
shit.
turning. It would be like turning on like a flashlight. It's how fast it would be.
Yeah, and so if you can deflect the flashlight, go for it. But
Right.
and
It makes sniping a lot easier.
I've heard a whole mess of different things, like, oh no, they shoot bolts that have plasma coming out of them, so they fly at a certain speed with the bolt.
The one thing that
And-
is explained in Star Wars, even though it doesn't make sense because it still would be like close to light speed, if not light speed,
Mhm.
is it's called Tabana gas, like the little like magazines you see on the side.
Mhm.
They're gas cartridges, and then you see like where the wires go in. That's like a power cell.
Mm.
So it emits this gas, and then it's inside of like this area that has it's like magnetic.
Mhm.
It lights the gas on fire, and then the magnets shoot it out. That being said, it's plasma. It would move at light speed.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like fire at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But with magnets, dude, it would move as long as it had a magnetic field, something that you can register.
Well, that's like that big ass rail gun that the Navy's got.
On the sun wall, the thing
Yeah.
that doesn't work, and if you fire it, it breaks the ship.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that?
No.
The sun wall's out of service right now. It's had so many problems.
Really?
And it came out like a couple of years ago. And the railgun, I don't think they've ever fired it on the ship.
Well, that's because if you're gonna make a railgun, you
It
have
needs to
to
be on the
design
ground.
the ship around the railgun. You
Right.
can't make a ship and then throw a fucking railgun on it and
Yeah.
expect it to work. You're gonna fucking shoot the thing and it's gonna do a backflip off your deck.
Let alone make the ship battery operated.
You
Yeah.
shoot it and it just like undoes all the bolts on it, and the railgun just falls off the ship. And
Yeah.
it's CG.
Yeah.
It's just like, later.
Mhm.
Well, what's that laser that like aircraft carriers and stuff have that you shoot down?
Oh,
unmanned
that new
drones and
heat
stuff?
laser?
Yeah,
It can detonate warheads and like
That's-
cruise missiles and
that
shit.
thing is cool.
The radar, I was talking to one of the guys, he used to work at General Dynamics, and he worked on the Aegis system, the 3 satellite dishes you see on the like radar tower.
Mhm.
He goes, those things in the right conditions can track a size of a golf ball at 8 miles, moving 500 miles an hour.
Holy shit. Wow.
At 8 miles, can track that, moving 500 miles an hour. That's fucking nuts. Can you imagine that hooked up to that laser system, or like this? Like they do it with the Sea Whiz.
Yeah.
The C-RAM, it's like the 20mm Vulcan. If it picks up like an enemy RPG or cruise missile or whatever it may be, it picks it up, it's like, lays down a line of fire and destroys it.
Those things at night, the tracers are cool.
It's
like
so
every
sick. It's like a
5
laser,
rounds or
dude.
something like that, it just looks like a straight line of fire.
Mhm.
It's crazy.
And you gotta think about it, that's every 5 rounds.
I know.
That's how fast that thing shoots. It
They're
just
like
looks
what?
like a string of
It's like
light.
6,000 rounds a minute or something like that.
4 to
upwards of
6,000. It's
I wish you
adjustable.
guys watched The Expanse, dude. The Expanse is so good.
Yeah.
Their ships have like those kinds of like auto cannons on them.
Is
So
it like in
if-
space or is
Yeah.
it no shit?
Yeah, so if someone fires like a nuclear torpedo at you, which is what they do, they
A
fucking
nuclear torpedo?
yeah.
What?
That's like their heat seekers. They have little trackers in them that'll track your
and they fire a
your
nuclear
exhaust
weapon
drive.
towards you.
Yeah,
What the shit? That's not
Yeah,
even warfare at that point.
yeah,
That's
and
just
just-
like one-shotting.
but
That's
you're
ridiculous.
you on the ships they have like these little auto cannons that can pop out of the hull and just shoot at things like you just designate them from the inside. I've seen
Right.
scenes where the gunner it's
See, I was
just
thinking more like Star Wars.
yeah,
I wasn't,
it's like
I wasn't
a big
thinking like a
panel
naval
that-
battle.
It's like a big panel. He's just sitting in a seat, the gunner of those turrets. He's sitting in a seat. There's a big panel that just looks like space, but it highlights any drives that are on, like anything that would be pushing something,
Right.
which it would be like an ionic drive or something
Right.
like that. It'll track that, and then you just tap on it, and it fucking auto like corrects itself and just fucking.
So those ion drives, right?
Mm,
That's what TIE Fighter stands for.
yeah.
You know how the TIE Fighters have 2 red dots in the back?
Mm-hmm.
TIE stands for Twin Ion Engine.
Yeah.
They came up
Oh,
with
shit.
that in the 70s, probably earlier,
that's
because
cool.
he was writing it. So it's like you think about, like, he was thinking of some futuristic shit. That futuristic shit's already like coming to fruition.
I was
That's cool.
I was looking up on the wiki page for that thing because I'm a nerd about it,
Mhm.
and I was looking at those turrets, and the back of the turrets have this little gas chamber where every single round they fire, and the recoil of it is absorbed by back pressure that's pushed out behind it. So instead of pushing
No
back
shit.
with each shot, it keeps itself in place.
Right.
So
and-
it's like an active recoil system.
yeah, and on every gun for every round coming out of it, and it fires at the
shit.
rate of a minigun. And the bullets that it shoots are 50 cal Teflon coated like
In
ceramic.
space.
Yeah, it's like a ceramic bullet with a Teflon coating around it, so
Right.
that it doesn't break apart when you fire it because whatever their physics they think they have, I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Dude,
you can't have
sounds really
you
good.
can't have a combustion in space. It's a vacuum.
No, everything is like compressed air and shit like
No
that.
shit.
Everything, yeah,
A compressed air 50 cal minigun
yeah,
that has an active recoil system.
yeah.
Well, like you
I
were,
want one.
right?
I want one now.
And it fires
Put it on the
tracer
front
rounds.
of the Jeep.
Yeah.
And they fire tracer rounds so you can see them in the blackness of space.
No shit.
And it's cool because it'll have, dude, they've had like 16 fucking missiles coming in, and they just start tapping all the targets, and the things, they don't pick individual missiles and go, they draw lines. They go, and they get 3 at a time, and they draw more lines, and they just keep drawing lines in space, and they get multiple missiles with one pull.
I want to
across the sky.
make
It's
a
fucking
petition.
crazy.
I want to make a petition to go through all the minigun scenes in that and replace the minigun sound with you. Can you imagine just hearing that and you just see like the ship get ripped in half?
It's
Yeah.
the new A10.
But they have railguns in that too. But the ships that have the railguns are built around the railguns. The railguns are mounted in the center of the ship, and they have to be moving at a certain speed to fire them, or else it'll fucking like break the hull. Like
No shit.
mhm.
But like you were saying,
They have stealth ships. The Martians do
They can,
because
like,
we've colonized
change.
the whole solar system. So Earth has
You
their
gotta put
ships.
that on, guy.
Earth, and it's funny because it sounds like World War II.
right.
Earth
Almost, yeah.
Earth has a bunch of ships, and they're not that good, but they've got a fuck ton of them. They've got 7 for every one that you have.
Right.
Right.
So you're
But
still
the
gonna
Martian,
lose.
the Martian
But
ships are
the
good.
Martians have stealth technology. They have better tracking systems. They have all the high tech shit. And
You know what it reminds me of?
an alien molecule comes in from interstellar space and it fucks with everyone.
Really?
And people war over it.
Almost like
And they
COVID.
destroy everything except for one molecule of
Like
it,
Rona?
and then they keep it for like I'll fuck you up. You know I can turn your planet into a fucking
I'll
alien
fuck you up,
landscape.
yeah.
Don't fuck with me.
Like bringing a nuclear detonator to a gunfight. You're like, go ahead and shoot. I'll kill us both.
But dude, this alien molecule is cool too, though, because it came from interstellar space, and some scientists captured it and they were studying it and whatnot. But it is like its own living thing. It's a technology, but it's like alive, and it's always trying to conquer its objective, which you come to find out, spoiler alert, is a fucking like a wormhole that just makes this giant wormhole, and when you go inside of it, you're in this giant like dome with a bunch of other portholes to other systems.
What the hell?
Yeah, dude, it's fucking insane.
So what is it? Is it about fighting?
Great,
is it about fighting in space, or is it about like making wormholes?
Well, at first it's about fighting in space. There's 8 seasons, dude.
Holy shit!
Oh man.
They've only
I gotta
made
watch
5.
that. What's it called? The Expanse.
The Expanse. I have the first 2 books, dude.
Dude, we should watch it.
I was talking to Mike Pat about this shit. He's the general manager of Pratt & Whitney.
Yeah.
And he was like, he caught me reading the book one day.
Yeah.
And he was like, what the fuck's that? And he was like,
Do you have
isn't
it
there a
over
show about that? And I was like, what? There's a fucking show, dude? And
Do you have the book over here?
Yeah, the book's right down there, the first one. It's
Right
the
here?
blue book at the bottom, yeah. Leviathan Wakes, that's the first episode. Or the first season, I should say.
This thing's mint. This thing's
huge. That's about the outbreak of the first war between the Martians and Earthers. That wasn't even the Martians or the Earthers. It was scientists on Luna, which is what they call the base on the moon, which is Earth property. And
so what? We colonize the moon, colonize Mars.
Oh yeah,
Any other-
everything, dude.
Oh, so it's
There's-
like they have like Jupiter.
No, the whole solar system. So the not you can't colonize Jupiter 'cause
well,
it's a gas
like,
giant.
but like around the moon.
Yeah,
so
like you can colonize the moons and the asteroids around it, and what they do is they find the holes. They have guys that just you go in a vac suit and you fucking mine the fucking asteroid and you hollow the inside of it out, and then you close the holes on the inside. You build cities on the inside of them. Close all the holes. Fill the asteroid with oxygen, because if the asteroid is still the same weight that it was when you started, it will keep its gravitational, like, you're not going to change the trajectories and fuck shit up.
Right.
So they calculate so that they could take out enough material, build a city of certain things and so many people on the inside, and then they fill it with air,
Holy shit.
plug all the holes, and then they put retrojets on it so that it gives us 1G
So
tumble.
you basically turn it into its own
Little habitable rock.
I was gonna say like a skate pod, but
Yeah.
like it's
That's
basically
cool.
it's
And
like an
so-
inside out world. Instead
so-
of having the sky around you, it like forms in.
So Ceres, which is this giant asteroid in between Mars and Jupiter,
Yeah.
it's right here. Ceres is, they call it Ceres Station, and it's like a refueling depot that Mars owns. And Mars owns like most of the Jovian system, which is everything that Jupiter encompasses, which is like fucking that's no business. There's like way more moons than that.
Yeah, Jupiter's
Satellites
like 60,
and shit.
right? Like 60 satellites around
Yeah.
it.
And Saturn's got like fucking 70 something.
Oh man.
Saturn's cool.
But
It's
yeah,
always been my favorite is Saturn.
they've got bases all over the fucking place, dude. And oh yeah, they've got their science figured out. Someone really sat down and thought through that whole show. Everything about it is like, wow, that's clever. The first guy.
Do they like go into the Kuiper Belt at all?
Oh yeah, there's a whole section of people that are called the Belters.
Really?
Yeah.
So they're on, like,
there's
the Kuiper
Earthers,
Belt with-
Martians, and Belters.
Yeah.
And Belters are like the working class of the solar system.
Right.
Like they mine asteroids and they bring those resources to the inner planets and sell them off, but they don't make barely any fucking money. And so because so many generations of those workers were just kind of outcast to the outer reaches of the solar system, far away from the sun, and like they don't all have 1G spin in all the asteroids and shit that they live in. Sometimes it's like 3/4 G. So at that rate, when you grow, you're gonna be like 7 feet tall because you don't have gravity to hold you down and make you grow right. So you're gonna grow lengthen. Your bones are gonna be brittle. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
Like they fucked a whole like section of humanity to the asteroid belt.
So they're like,
and so it's like a
permanently
racist thing. Like
Really?
people look at the belters as like
Lower class.
the belters, Jesus Christ,
Right.
like, oh, here comes a belter. The belters can't even live on planets, dude.
What?
Because they
Because of the
didn't
gravity.
they didn't grow up with the right gravity. So when they take belters, if Earth catches you and you're a belter, and I want to torture you, I don't do anything to you. I just take all your gear off and I put you on hooks on the wall. Because Earth's gravity is enough to torture you.
Right.
You can't hold yourself up. You're gonna be sitting there like fucking being fucked up by a planet, dude. You're fucked. Fucked.
And this is
you
called
can't even
expanse.
get yourself off the hooks. You're in trouble, dude.
So it's almost like a solar system-wide civil war.
Yes.
I want to watch this.
Dude, I keep telling you to watch it and you don't watch it.
Let's watch it.
It's a good show. We can watch it.
Is it on? Is it on Prime?
Yeah. We'll watch it.
I'll have to redo my Prime membership.
We'll watch it. We'll watch it tonight. But
we'll watch it. We'll watch it.
but dude, it's a great story. Anyone who wants to see that, it's on Amazon Prime, and The Expanse is one of the best shows you'll watch if you like
I want
sci-fi
to read
stuff.
the book too.
Yeah, you can borrow. I'm on the second one already. I have the second one behind Dylan on that seat, that stool.
Oh, that's a big one too.
Yep, they're all big like that.
I used to read those Tom Clancy books,
Yep,
like Advanced Warfighter.
yep.
Those were sick.
Those are good books.
And Splinter Cell. Splinter Cell books were sick.
Mm-hmm.
Are they?
Yeah.
I didn't know there was books.
Yeah, they had the game, and then they came out with the books. It's a Tom Clancy, I believe, right?
Is it? Yeah, I think so.
Tom Clancy Splinter Cell.
I think so, yeah.
I have one of them
I'm
where
gonna
he's like
miss
going
these
through
games.
Russia.
Really?
Yeah, it's sick. He's like hiding from Russian agents and like
That's
taking them out. Yeah.
So, you work at the hospital. You're a dialysis patient. You got the vaccination, both rounds of it, and your body reacted sometimes. You went to the hospital.
Yep.
What were those reactions like?
So I actually had the availability to get both. I had Pfizer and the Moderna.
Okay.
Really?
So I
So
had
is
Pfizer.
that just different companies that have the
I think
vaccines?
so. I think so. I'm not exactly sure what the difference is between the two of them, but I was able to get mine because I work at the hospital,
Mhm.
and they had Pfizer. And for
Mhm.
whatever reason, either they ran out or they just didn't have any, I'm not sure. They sent me to Sanford. And when I came
Really?
to Goodall, the only one they had was Moderna. And that one,
So you
I
got-
thought,
You got one of the first vaccine and one of the second.
yeah,
So it was like a mixed batch.
for me, yeah.
Really?
hmm And they-
Because they were experimenting, right? They were like, we're gonna give you two of the same. We're gonna give this guy.
no, I got one Pfizer, and then when I went for my second one, instead of getting Pfizer again, I got the Moderna.
So
I
is that
had-
just how they're supposed to do it then?
No, because I'm pretty sure they ran out in Biddeford, so I had to come to Sanford to get the second one, and the only one that they had here was
That's
the
fucking
Moderna one.
nuts, dude.
And that one, I thought I hurt more,
Yeah.
but with the Pfizer, I thought I felt way more sick. You know what I
That's
mean?
fucking nuts.
But they say,
Can you imagine getting like it's one to get two shots from the same company,
man.
but to get one from one company and one from the other.
And it's especially ballsy for you because for you being a dialysis patient, you don't have the immune system that could.
and that's exactly why I did it, because you know what? I would rather something happen to me than thousands of other people.
Yeah,
Is that selfish? Maybe. I don't know. Depends on who you talk
that's
to.
heroic.
But
That's heroic.
But you know
That's
what?
not
If-
selfish.
If something happened to
Not
me
selfish.
and they were like, you know what?
Yeah.
What happened to him that is now making that stuff dangerous towards dialysis patients? And they can fix it.
And so because of that, and because they were doing their experimentations and whatnot, and you allowed them to use you as a guinea pig, now you've changed policies, or you've at least influenced the way that they respond to COVID with dialysis patients. In
I don't
Maine.
know if I've influenced it. I mean, at least not in my direct knowledge.
Right.
I could have,
But
because I know I see
passively,
it. I see it every day.
But they obviously they recorded like what you were experiencing and changed some part.
Oh, they
Right.
did, but they tried to blame it on pre-existing medical conditions. Oh, my chest pain was from a murmur that I've had all my life.
Yeah.
Or oh, the headache you had is,
Yeah, so
is from
if
the
I've had-
seizure
if
that
I've-
you had years and years and years ago.
If I've had the murmur all my life, why am I suddenly getting it right after the vaccine?
Right,
Wouldn't you think I'd get it before the vaccine or any other part of my life, and now I'm getting it now?
right, and all of a sudden just cause chest pain? No. I
It's a
don't
vaccine,
think so.
dude.
I think it was, so they say my body reacted so hardcore because they think that I had COVID, but I didn't have any symptoms. You know what I mean?
Did
the
you
only,
get,
well,
like-
I should say that, but the only symptom I had was I couldn't taste or smell anything for like a month. I wasn't like sick. I didn't have a fever. I didn't have chills. I wasn't
Did you get a
coughing.
test?
No, 4 hospitals refused to test me.
Really?
Yeah, even with being a dialysis patient, because it was back in January, they said it would be a waste of a test because
So
my
this
only
was like
symptom.
a long time. This was when it
Yeah.
first kicked around.
Mhm.
No
Yeah, they said
shit.
it would be a waste of a test because my only symptom was I couldn't taste or smell anything. And then in February, the #1 symptom was you can't taste or smell anything.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I
are you
remember
kidding
that.
me? Because now that I had that, I just went to dialysis patients that just because I got lucky doesn't mean that they're gonna get lucky. Like, what the hell?
Right.
Yeah,
That's nuts.
There's been a lot of experts who have said they think that coronavirus swept the United States before, in the days before we knew that it was here.
I think back in like November when everybody
There's countless people, like some people are gonna be bullshit. Oh, I was sick too. Let me tell you about how I was sick.
No, people were violently
But
ill.
there were people that were sick, dude. I was sick. I was sick for 2 weeks. Not like bedridden, but I was hot and cold sweats. I couldn't sleep that well. I didn't have the loss of taste and smell, but I had headaches. I was sick.
Yeah, it's not fun. I mean, to somebody of our age and maybe as healthy as you guys, it's really not. I mean, yes, people are dying. I'm not saying that nobody's dying.
Right. Yeah,
It's
definitely
not
no.
It's not as inflated as they're making it seem.
No.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
No, you see, they have like these like survival percentages. They're like have already been calculated from the number. For our age group, as long as you're like a healthy adult, person between I think it's like 18 to 25, or 18 to 27 or somewhere other. It's like that age group. It's like 99.97% chance of survival. You have a 0.03% chance of dying.
Right, unless you have medical conditions
pre-existing
or-
conditions.
Right, exactly.
And that
So it's-
3% is like, oh, Joey got hit by a bus and fucking coughed.
Right.
Died of
Died.
COVID.
And
Yeah.
Died of
that's
COVID,
another
yeah.
thing too. People are, dying from heart attack, but because they had COVID in their system, oh, he died from COVID.
And you know who revealed that early on? Elon Musk had his fucking engineers. Hold on. Stop making rockets for a minute. Look at those numbers and report back to me when you find the bullshit, because I know there's bullshit in there.
Right.
And they found the bullshit, and they were like, dude, they're pretty much saying like, Joseph got hit by a bus and coughed before he died, so that's a COVID death. Or Joey had cancer, stage 4 lymphoma, and was gonna die fucking next week anyway, but he got COVID and it killed him today, so that's a COVID death.
Yeah.
No shit.
It's like very gray area, borderline bullshit.
For what
like that.
actually is a COVID.
And that's what the media used to spin off and say, oh, people are dying everywhere, it's wicked,
Right.
fucking everyone indoors, and
Well,
that's
I
how they
will
really
say-
grabbed everyone and
I
said,
will say one thing. Over the past year,
Oh, shit.
especially with COVID, when you say like the media, people are finally starting to wake up and realize how corrupt the media really is.
I would hope so.
Like on both sides.
Yo, yeah.
It's both, dude.
I don't
like,
listen- I haven't
dude,
listened
I
to
say
the news in
CNN's
years.
I say CNN's corrupt, but I'll admit Fox is just as corrupt. Both of them spit
Oh, yeah,
so
definitely.
vague stories for both sides.
Mhm.
It's all just like fear mongering, bro.
It's terrible.
And people are finally realizing like nothing the media says is true, or
Yeah.
like if it is, it's the real dumb shit.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what
Nobody's
I mean?
gonna know when they're really telling the truth
Exactly.
because it's all bullshit.
I haven't watched the news in years. Like years before President Trump was even President Trump, and
You-
then
you
they
don't
went
have
from
to.
Trump to
This-
Biden, President Biden.
Right. I mean, the second you log into your phone, doesn't matter what social media app it is, all that shit is right in your face. It is slammed so far
I
down
got
your
rid of
throat.
Facebook.
Dude, I got rid of all my. The only thing I have left is fucking Instagram.
I keep Instagram and I keep YouTube because I use YouTube.
Yeah, I
for,
use YouTube.
Obviously to post stuff on our channel,
Yeah.
to post stuff on my second channel, and for music mostly,
Yeah.
and movies. There's some movies I can get on YouTube I can't get on Netflix.
Yeah, there's YouTube's starting to do like a free movie chain.
Really?
Have you
All you
seen
have
the
to do
free
is-
movies? They've got some pretty decent ones.
All you have
right
to do is watch, like, it's like 1 or 2 ads for like a 2 or 3 hour movie. They're like 10, 15 second
there. Yeah,
ads.
I think it's every 15 minutes or something. You gotta watch an ad.
No,
It's like
I
a minute
watched
long.
one the other day. I watched Platoon,
Really?
and it was free. It was
just
like
free.
it was like a week and a half ago.
Mhm.
But I sat down and watched Platoon. I had to watch an ad, like 2 or 3 of them. It's like an hour and a half, 2 hour movie. And I watched 2 or 3 like 30-second ads. That's
Yep.
it.
That was it?
Yep. And it'll give you like a countdown. Like it'll show you where the scroll bar is.
Right.
Where it's like red and gray.
Mhm.
The ad will be a little yellow bar.
Right.
So like you can tell when it's gonna come up on an ad.
Mhm. That's cool.
It's almost like watching it on TV.
Does it make you have to have a YouTube, like, obviously you have to have a YouTube account?
No, I don't
Like,
think
so.
a channel or anything, no?
I think Active
If you-
Valor's on there.
Really?
That is
that
probably
free
one of my
movie
favorite
on there?
movies.
I saw that it was on Netflix.
Oh, my
Is it?
It is a
God.
sick.
They do
movie.
have. They've got good war movies on there though.
Yep.
What I like about Active Valor is they were actual soldiers.
Mhm.
And from what I understand, a lot of those scenes were actual, like, live fire.
Yep.
That's cool.
Well, the fact that they're actually handling weapons and they show it's not like, you know, John McClane or someone from like Die Hard or
Mhm.
like the Expendables where they're shooting hundreds of bullets and then they, you know,
Yeah, they reload once
one
in the
mag.
movie.
Dude, you see like Active Valor, it's real life, dude. 30-round mag goes by quick, and if you're on like full auto like those guys are, a couple bursts and you got to reload.
Mhm.
So you can see them. They're like in the back of the truck. That first scene where they're like the 2 guys in the ghillie suits.
He reloads like 5
He's like,
times.
"Brah,
Yeah.
brah, brah." Dropped mag, gets
Yeah.
a new one in. It's as far as guns go, it's very realistic. Very, very realistic.
I liked it a lot.
We saw that in a movie theater,
Mhm.
and there were a bunch of vets there. It was like opening day,
Yeah.
Yep.
and at the end of the movie, like half the theater stood up clapping. There were
Yeah.
people crying and
That was a
screaming,
damn
like
good movie, yeah.
hoorah and hoot.
Yeah.
It was fucking good.
Dude, I'll tell you
Very
what
good
was
movie.
good. I watched it at IMAX when it first came out. So it was like one of the very few movies I like. I don't go out to the movies unless I want to really see a movie.
Mhm.
I can typically wait. When American Sniper first came out,
No, yeah, I rushed to
Oh,
see
yeah.
that
I went
too.
to IMAX, dude, and it
Mhm.
was that last scene where it shows like Chris Kyle's burial,
Mhm.
and like at the end of the movie, most people like, you know, if it's like a good movie or it's like a comedy, like people clap or people like whatever. Dude, it just like the lights, like after the movie faded out, the lights turned on and it was just like you could hear a pin drop,
Mhm.
Mhm.
dead
Yeah.
quiet, and everybody just kind of like walked out. They were like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
Just
Like-
experience some shit.
Like just genuinely
Yeah.
experienced some shit and just like genuinely felt like, holy crap. You could hear a pin drop. It was scary. It was like that
Yeah.
quiet. But such a good movie. That one, American Sniper, Restrepo was really good.
Restrepo was great.
I've seen some of that.
I like that one a lot.
They have one, The Outpost now. I don't think it's. I
I've
mean,
seen
I
that
didn't like that.
I haven't seen it. Is it? It's not like Restrepo where it's real life, right? It's actually.
No,
like
I
a
thought it was
movie.
way too Hollywood.
It's a movie though.
It is very Hollywood.
Yeah, it was
But it was based off reality. It was based
Right.
off
something that actually
a
happened.
fort that was put in a terrible position. They put it up in the mountains, like in a valley that was in between 2 different mountains. So,
No shit.
like, here's the 2 mountains. You're in the valley in between those 2 mountains, and then there's valleys on either side of the fucking mountain. So you're like on a mountain in a small valley, and they built a fucking base in that valley. So,
No shit.
so the Taliban.
So is this in like as Afghanistan? Is it Iraq?
Afghanistan?
It's
I
like the
believe.
middle of, is it like the middle of the global war of terror, or is it like modern day?
It's like pretty modern day.
Like-
it's,
Like right now.
yeah.
Oh, like currently.
Yeah.
Oh, no shit. I was
Yeah.
thinking like maybe it was like Restrepo, where it was like the late 2000s.
Yeah, no, the Taliban, they would just climb the mountains and then they would sit on the edges of that valley, that little pocketed valley
Yeah.
between the mountains, and they would just shoot down like fish in a barrel.
Yeah.
What the
Like
hell?
no matter what angle, there was always high ground above you, and like they got slaughtered,
Holy
dude.
shit.
A lot of them died. A lot of the guys at that base died, and they said multiple times, "This is not right. This is set up like shit." They even show you in the movie, like a squad goes up to the top of the ridgeline, and they look down, and they're just like thinking, "Oh my god."
Yeah. Well,
They're like, "Dude, we would take this in a night. Like the way we're set up, we're fucked."
Right.
They knew they were fucked, and just rockets coming down,
Holy
just pummeling the fucking base from the top. AKs shooting down on top of you all the time.
Holy shit.
Mortars, fucking.
So they're completely exposed.
Oh yeah.
They got inside the wire. They were like in the base, the Taliban, and the Taliban. They killed so many people. They thought they'd won. The Taliban were marching around like ha 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 ha, like we took the base kind of shit.
Holy
and
shit.
then fucking like you can see the guys that are just like there's like 5 or 6 of them left in a couple of different spots around the base and barracks and shit, and they're like looking around, looking at them like holy fuck, they're everywhere. They're up on the ridge lines, they're walking down the ridge, coming in. There's guys already all over the base on the inside, and they ended up strategically like taking it back,
picking them off.
But yeah, and dude, it was fucking stupid. It was stupid. You bring a helicopter in there, you're probably not getting it out.
Right.
It's like, dude, it was like just a fucking well of shit.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine.
And this was the Outpost.
The Outpost, yeah.
Oh shit.
That
I have
was
to
a good
check that
show.
out then.
I kind of like that movie.
Yeah,
I
have to
agree
watch
with
it,
you. It was very Hollywood, but it was a good movie.
As long as it's not as bad as the new Jarheads, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
The new Jarheads are so bad.
Yeah,
Like
I don't
the
like
first jar, the
don't like
first,
those
the
at all.
first Jarhead, like the original, the one that is Jarhead, amazing movie. Jake Gyllenhaal, like sniper in the middle of like the first Gulf War, awesome. And then they have like 2, 3, 4. I think they have a 5th one now, and it's like the most C-list celebrity Hollywood cheese, bro.
Yeah.
Like
That-
VFX, like really shitty VFX for like the muzzle blast on the guns and
that's
shit.
exactly how the Outpost is. It's like
Yeah,
you can very
it is
obviously
kinda
tell
like
that wasn't even a blank.
Yeah.
So it's just like actors going pew,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
physically forcing it back. As long
The
as
story. If you watch it objectively, the storyline's a good storyline.
Yeah.
Because it was based off a true
Right.
story. Like those guys really
No
did
shit.
get fucked like that. Yeah.
No
Oh
shit.
And a
yeah.
lot of those guys did die like that.
That's how our military learns, though. I mean, I'll take the Pacific. We
Yeah,
got our
right.
ass handed to us up until about midway.
Yeah. Midway. I always thought that, even though you see like the European landings, like D-Day, that's cool. There's a lot of guys. The Pacific landings, like Iwo Jima, dude,
Guadalcanal.
Guadalcanal, Wake Island, bro.
Yeah.
Evil, dude.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Marine Raiders just rolling through a whole bunch of sand with like a 1919 underneath their belt.
Yeah.
Just like I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is nuts. These guys are mad.
Did you know that when a lot of the dive bombers would get too low and they couldn't do the dive or whatever, they would actually skip the bombs across the top of the ocean and slam it into the side of the hull?
What?
Yeah. It was either 550-pound bombs or 1,000-pound bombs. They'd get going and then they
You could
pull
skip
up,
it off the
and they
water.
would skip it off the water and it would go into the side of the ship.
Oh shit.
Or the P-47s, when the Tigers first came out, you know how they countered the Tigers? They would load them with incendiary rounds and come down,
On
shoot
top.
the ground. No, they would shoot the ground and it would bounce and go through the bottom.
No shit.
Yeah. Isn't that
That's
crazy?
fucking evil.
That was cool. I never knew something like that.
That's evil as shit. I know they had like the Germans had the magnetic anti-tank mines. Like the ones where like the Germans would run up to like a Sherman or like a T-34 and they would like have magnets on them and they would clunk,
Right.
hook
stay
around to
on
the hull and
side.
it's like a shaped charge. But when you hear about like aircraft armament for anti-tank stuff, other than modern day, you had to get pretty creative.
Oh yeah.
You had to get real creative.
I just
when you
couldn't
did it.
imagine being a young German soldier in the baddest machine on the face of the earth, or so you thought, and then a 50 cal takes you out.
Yeah, like a 50 cal just rips through like the bottom of it and
Yeah.
just smokes everyone inside. Like, that's not good.
I couldn't imagine.
It's better than what is it, Igoko, the Japanese tanks, the real long
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah.
At least it's not one of those.
Dude, the Japanese tanks were awful.
Dude, they're such.
There was some dreadful farm tractor-ish shit.
What
right
was
there.
it, Jimmy? The other day, you're just like looking at a Japanese tank. It was like, you're trash, pure dog water.
Yeah.
They're freer than a free bowl at Costco.
What was that Russian tank that had jet engines?
I don't know. Are you kidding me? There's a Russian tank with fucking jet engines?
Yeah, the exhaust, it was these two armored ports that would flip up on the back, and the exhaust would come right out the back, two giant fucking jet engines.
I think it was,
Wait, was it a jet or was it a rocket?
One of the two, I'm pretty sure.
wasn't it a German tank called
No,
like,
it was a Russian. It was a Russian.
was it the Mouse or something like that? Called, I don't know.
No, the
I
mouse
don't
was the
remember.
big German one.
Yeah.
There's only like 2 of those ever made?
Yeah, and they weren't even.
Same
ever
with the
put
rail
before.
guns. They made railway guns. Oh, when you get into artillery, artillery's sick.
I don't care what people say. If it weren't for the Nazis, technology today wouldn't be where it is.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy.
Especially mechanical. Like
Oh,
anything mechanical, like they went through such an industrial period during that pre-war, like late 30s into like the post-war. The Germans had such a crazy technology advantage. Like they boosted. They just boosted. I mean, same thing with the Russians technically.
Yeah.
But one thing that they couldn't get right was they didn't have the resources.
Right.
That's why mostly the reason why the Germans lost the war was they ran out of oil because they were spending too much oil running their tanks instead of getting more people into the service with rifles. We won because of a numbers game.
Right.
Between the U.S., the British, and then the Russians, I mean, the Russians lost 24 million people in fucking World War II alone.
But Hitler also tried to storm Syria in the dead of winter.
Syria or Russia?
Was it Syria?
Siberia.
Siberia, yeah.
But I mean, either way, like
In the dead of winter, dumbass.
yeah, that's the dumbest move.
Like, did you not learn from Napoleon?
Yeah.
After he had a fucking treaty with Stalin that said it was like an what do they call it, an armistice or something like that,
Yeah.
where they take a ceasefire treaty, and he broke the treaty.
Right.
He fucking just
Within a couple of days.
Between them and the Soviets.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's called the Non-Aggression Pact.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he broke it within like what, a couple of days, a week. It wasn't very long.
The story about Stalingrad is pretty fucking crazy, because Stalingrad, when the Germans were rushing the Russians and they were starting to roll through Russia, they weren't even supposed to go after Stalingrad. It had no like advantage, like military, strategic or military advantage at all.
Right.
But Hitler said nope, it has Stalin's name on it, and I want to show him that I can take his fucking name from him if I want. And so they bombarded the whole fucking city, leveled it to rubble pretty much, killed most of the people there, and then because they were told to stay. They were told to stay and fight. Stalin said stay and fight to these civilians, these women, children, and men that have been workers the whole life.
That's one thing a lot of people don't realize, because we always hear, like, in the history books, like, the Nazis, the Nazis, the Nazis. The Nazis were bad dudes.
Stalin was bad.
The Soviets were just as bad. The communists, especially in World War II, through Korea, up until, like, the 70s, like, Stalin passed away in, like, what, 55? But from, like, the 1917 revolution to, like, the late 60s, early 70s, dude, the communists were fucking evil.
Oh yeah.
Throw people in camps and, like, make sure your name was deleted from everything. Congrats, you work at a and now.
Yeah.
If you try to escape, we'll shoot you on sight. They're nuts. The Russians were nuts.
Working in terrible conditions that are gonna kill you in 10 years anyway.
Yeah, the Gulag.
Yeah.
Like, that's where, like, you know, like Gulag from Warzone. Yeah, Gulags are work camps.
Right.
They're like death camps. It's nuts.
And so he storms Stalingrad, bombs the fuck out of it, kills most of the people there. The people there who've just pretty much everything just got taken from them. Alright, well now I have nothing left to do but fight. So they fucking ended up getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back and pushed back by the Germans. Until, if you look at like a map, like Stalingrad's like right here, and then there's a river that runs next to it. Yeah. They got pushed they pushed right up to that fucking river, and there were only 2 sections left. And then through like guerrilla warfare, like the German armament moved on and they just left a small force there.
Right.
And through guerrilla warfare, female snipers and like just a bunch of like really radical type shit, they ended up taking back most of the city, and they pushed the Germans back to those 2 little pockets next to the fucking
Kiev River.
Yeah. And the Germans, they didn't even know if they had lost all their ammo. They were starving. They fucking had no radio communication. They didn't know if everyone else was dead or not.
So I was watching
these 2 little pockets got taken.
I was watching a report on that for Stalingrad, and for most of the Eastern Front, the Germans, when they got like their horses and all their supply lines couldn't get through the snow and the mud, these guys were living and like fighting 10, 12 hours a day before coming back to base, and they were fighting off of like 500 to 800 calories.
Holy shit.
It was just bread and water. That's it. They would give him like literally like a loaf of like just basic like bread, like grain bread, cheap to make, quick to make. You know what I mean? Just big like that.
Yep.
They'd give him that, and like if you were lucky, like one of the horses that was carrying the wagons died, and you got meat.
Right.
And then it was just water. They would take like snow and start fires, and then boil water.
That's crazy.
And you're going out and fighting Russians all day in the snow, 10 hours a day.
In World War One,
that's why a lot of dudes died of starvation.
in World War One, the Germans tried to do the same fucking thing. They tried to go after the Russians in the winter.
Yeah.
And so what happened? They didn't have the kind of like mechanical tanks and all that kind of shit. They got there, people froze to death, people were starving, they were barely even fighting each other because they were fighting the cold more than each other at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
And then wolves started picking people off at night. If you were fucking injured and the wolves could hear you moaning like hurt,
Right.
they're gonna fucking grab, and they're big wolves.
Dude,
Big wolves.
they're not coyotes. They're
No,
wolves.
these are fucking
Yeah.
wolves.
These are
dude.
like 90 to 120 pound wolves.
Like rip your face
like
off,
that,
no
that
problem.
tall, like hunt down deer in
I couldn't
packs.
imagine.
Like they're
I'd
insane.
be in a tree.
And dude, they
I'd be in a tree.
the Germans and the Russians ended up they had a ceasefire for like 3 days where they just went out and hunted wolves.
Really?
Yeah, and they didn't shoot at each other. If they saw each other in the woods, they were there for the wolves.
Right.
Because the wolves killed that many of them, dude. It was hundreds of people were being dragged into the fucking woods at night and eaten.
I bet they were loving it.
That's a
Yeah, because to the
fucking
wolves, it's a free
nightmare.
fucking meal. No
Right.
one's shooting at you. No one's
Yeah.
doing anything
Dude,
bad.
that's
You're
a
just,
nightmare. Can
I'm
you
gonna grab
imagine-
your foot, drag you away. You're barely gonna fight me. I rip your throat out, and now I get a meal.
Yeah.
Could you
It's that
imagine
easy.
being in a foxhole with someone and then like you fall asleep, you wake up and they're getting dragged off by a couple of wolves?
Or
That are like 3 times the size of you.
And
Yeah.
you're sitting there with a bolt action,
Start going.
freezing. I was like,
Or God
Oh,
forbid you
fuck
wake
that.
up and your buddy's already got his fucking head getting chomped on by
Yeah.
a wolf that's
Throat
ripping his
torn
fucking
out.
head off.
you got another one looking right
Yeah,
at
and you got another one growling, drooling on you above you. Like, oh, I'm fucked.
Yeah. I'll sleep in the tent.
No, fuck that. I'll pull out my bayonet and take the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tackle it to the ground.
But you gotta think too, in World War II, the average American was 150 pounds, 140 pounds,
Right.
and like 5'8", 5'9". In World War One, people were probably even a little bit smaller than that, dude. That
Yeah.
wolf is gonna fuck you up. That thing is gonna eat. It almost
It's
weighs
almost
as
big
much
as
as
us.
you,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
It's as big as you are.
Yeah.
And it's got built-in fucking guns and weapons and knives.
Yeah, it's got its claws, it's got its teeth. Those things, I'm telling you,
You're not gonna outrun it.
I got a night coyote hunting permit, and I went out last year, and I got to like, I didn't hunt any. I just went out to like observe. That way I could see what was in the area, because I was like wondering whether or not I should bring livestock in.
Bear and shit.
I wanted to have, I wanted to have chickens, so I was like, I want to make sure there's not a lot of coyotes out here. It's not, there's a lot, but it's like, they're, the ones that are in my area, there's probably like 12 in my backyard, like woods.
Coyotes, little pricks.
Dude, these ones are big and they're aggressive. I was literally sitting on a tree stand with my, like, I had this at the time, it's digital night vision. It's not like actual night vision. It's just an IR camera, and then you have an IR illuminator. So it's like a flashlight, like a floodlight on the camera. But in
Right.
real life, it's no light. I turned that on. I watched 7 of those things in a pack rip apart a 180-pound deer. And I'm telling you, it was down to the bone in like 10 minutes.
Oh, I believe it.
They are aggressive as shit. Like out back
Oh,
of my
yeah.
house, I was like, no, I'm not bringing livestock. Ever since I went out like that, anytime I'm out in my backyard, I always have a gun on me.
Yeah.
I used to walk around the woods with nothing on me, like maybe a backpack, a cell phone. Now I'm like, bare minimum, I want my 357. At the most time, I usually grab my 30-06 bolt action and then a pistol. Because that's a
Yeah.
lot of coyotes doing it.
Is that big alpha still over there? 'Cause I
Yeah,
know
the
for a
one that's
while-
like fucking 40 pounds.
Yeah, the one
the one
that was
that's
like
black
killing
and gray.
small dogs and cats and stuff for
The one
a
that's
while.
black and gray.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's still there.
Is he?
Oh yeah, I want to hunt it this year.
You can definitely tell when he's around because you'll hear them all yipping and yipping and yipping, and then there's that one deep one.
Deep grunt.
And that's
Dude.
him.
Yeah.
No, sound like a demon.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh, like regular coyotes, they sound like, I almost don't want to say it, but like sounds like women yelling. Like it sounds like kids screaming or like
Mhm.
women screaming like wah, 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 wah.
Mhm.
And this one's like like, dude, sounds like a fucking demon. It's deep as shit. It sounds like it should be a great name. Seriously, it's evil.
And that's an issue too, is a lot of the domesticated dogs are starting to mate with them. So you're getting crossbreeds, and the coyotes are only getting bigger.
And the coyotes, if they catch like a domestic dog, they'll kill it.
Oh yeah.
Like if a pack finds a domesticated dog, like even if it's in your yard, they'll kill it.
Dude, Max, my black lab, he was like 120 pounds. My grandparents used to live in Limerick, which is a woodsy part of Maine. And they babysat him a few times when we went to Florida, or if we went to my cousin's in Mass or something and we just couldn't bring him with us. We would let them babysit him. And so they would have fires pretty late at night till like 11, 12 o'clock at night sometimes. Right. And Max would obviously lay with him next to the fire, yeah. And I guess there were a few nights where pretty late at night he said that he felt like they knew Max was there and they were trying to call him out there because they would get pretty close and they would just howl constantly.
Really?
Constantly yipping and yapping, constantly howling, constantly. And Max, he said, would sometimes get up and go to the tree line and he would call him back, like, get the fuck back over here now.
Right, where do you think you're going?
Yeah, because literally that's all it takes. He's just got to put one foot in the tree line and the three of them grab him real quick and you're not catching them, dude.
No.
No fucking way they're going to take off with him.
Did you hear about...
Earlier last year, like a couple months ago, there was one out back of my house that was just sitting there. I was out scouting. You know what I mean? There's just sitting there growling, like probably, I don't know, I'm a quarter mile out of my house. It's like 120 yards away from me. That big area that's all open behind my house.
The little pond?
No, the one that's way out back of my house. Where the clear cut shit.
Yeah.
Dude, it was just sitting there. I was at the entrance where the trail is, and it was just sitting there howling, and then it started like sneaking up on me, like trying to stalk me, and I'm watching it the whole time. It came into like 70, 80 yards, and I was like, fuck, I don't think this thing's gonna stop. I had my .6 at the time, my bolt action. I made sure it was chambered. Safety was off, and I just followed it down, and then right when it like stopped, it was like 40 yards in. Stopped for a second, like sniffed around, looked at me, just bolted right at me. I was like, fuck no, dude.
Boom.
Dude, touched one off and I hit it like it was running straight at me. I hit it like here. Whole round went through its ribcage and then underneath its arm, dropped it like that.
Oh, I bet.
Dude, rolled the fucking thing. But it was like, dude, it was coming at me. It came in from 120 yards all the way up to 40 and then started sprinting.
Right.
That thing was like hunting me. It's sketchy.
This was up at your house?
Yeah, it was like a quarter mile out from my house.
That's crazy.
You ever see the videos of people walking through the woods and they like stop and they're like looking around and then they spin around and like right behind them there's like just a cat staring at them like 10 feet away and he's just looking at you like I could have eaten you, like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I've been here a while now. It's just fucking makes the hair stand up on
mountain cats, bobcats.
Oh yeah. Mountain lions are
Did
terrifying.
you guys hear about the pit bull that killed like 10 coyotes?
Holy shit.
Yeah, so I guess there was a vet, I saw it on the Joe Rogan episode,
dog.
where this guy brought his pit bull in and was just covered in cuts and shit. And the vet stitched him up and was like, oh dude, like what happened? The guy was like, I don't know. And he came home one day and the dog was just covered in blood and brought him in to get stitches. So he followed his dog's blood and just found a massacre. The dog just got out of his yard.
That's awesome.
Went through, like running down the trail, found some coyotes and just slaughtered them.
Wow.
Holy fuck.
I guess he said it looked like Vietnam. But imagine being a coyote and you're like, oh yeah, we can take this dog. And so, here comes this fucking 160
Little did you know,
pound
it's like it's like that canine Karate Kid just jacks your shit up.
I mean, some of those pit bulls, their heads are, this big. Like, what do you do?
Strongest bite of any dog too.
Yeah, they're cannons.
Bite your throat, dude. You're done.
Yeah, but
one shot.
Fuck that.
I could just not imagine being that coyote. There's a ton of us. What's he gonna do?
Yeah.
You're all dead.
And you see the dumb pit bull look on his face. It's like, oh
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Let's go.
And now I think about Max when he would get out pretty far sometimes. When we lived at the old house near the pits and shit, we used to have the sand pits behind our house, and we'd find him in the pits sometimes.
Really?
You know what else I found in the pit one time? a hoof of
A
a deer.
Really?
Oh, I
Yeah.
believe it.
Yeah. Dude, there's like...
Motherfuckers got torn up out there.
Oh, coyotes, dude, the way they hunt, I love going out coyote hunting. Obviously, I'll harvest one if it's a threat to me or if I see like the population is getting too much. I hunt mainly because of like conservation and I really like nature. So I don't want, the reason why you hunt is so you can control the population. That way, like, no predators become too powerful and then there's no prey, you know what I mean? The ecosystem's very delicate. Watching them hunt or like just watching them interact, it's insane. Half the time when I go out hunting, I don't shoot anything. I just like watching the wildlife. Just to be there, not be seen. Just shut up, stay quiet, don't make any movements. Just binoculars, just sit there like this.
Right.
They don't notice you. You got camouflage on. They can't tell the difference. It's
They're
nuts.
colorblind, right? Something like that.
They're red-green colorblind. That's why you see a lot of coyotes' vision and like dogs' vision in general is mostly like gray, blue, and purple as far as humans can like understand. It's pretty crazy. Dogs also can't tell the difference in words. They go off of emotion.
Yeah, see, that I did know.
I didn't know that until someone told me. Yeah, they're like, yeah, you don't know, like, you could like say something like super like mean and just like angry at a dog, but you say it like this.
Oh yeah.
You say like this, come here, buddy, a little piece of shit, and they're like, oh, what's up? And then you go to them, you're like, I love you so much, and they're like cowering. Yeah, they're like cowering. I never knew that, so they go off of like emotion.
Yeah.
Well, they say that they can understand, what is it, like 3% of our language or something?
Yeah,
like that?
I think they can get like 20 words.
Something there.
They can
Dude,
understand,
Stella
like, 20, 30
knows.
words.
Stella knows hungry.
Really?
Oh yeah. If I say hungry, dude, she freaks right out. Or like when I go like for lunch or something. But she doesn't know no biting, or down, or stop, or stay. She just eats and parties all day. She eats and then she acts like dude. She acts like a Tasmanian devil. I call her a bear cub, dude. It looks like she's like a little black bear cub.
They are for a while.
Oh, dude. Especially labs.
Oh, yeah.
Labs are evil as puppies.
So that's one of the cool things I think about boxers is they have the longest puppyhood of any breed. Their brain's not fully developed until they're like 3 years old.
So they're just goofy as shit.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. See, I do like labs. I just don't like when they get older, they get lazy. Lazy.
Oh yeah.
Labs, they won't do anything. They'll get up, they'll eat breakfast or they'll eat lunch or whatever it is. Might get the ball like 2 or 3 times. So the third time you send them out with that ball,
Not
just
coming back.
Oh, dude, they just sit down with the ball, just sit there and chew on it, and
Yeah.
just lay down, take a nap. I'm like, you lazy little fuck.
Max used to take naps in his kiddie pool.
In the little water pool.
But only if you did not have the hose in there. Because if you took that hose out and he saw water spraying, he was fucking not coming anywhere near you.
Really?
Yeah, my dad used to
Scared of
spray
water.
him when he was a puppy.
Yeah.
And so he wasn't like the one that was like, fuck you, water, I'll fuck you up. He was like, oh, running, running, like away.
Yeah.
He wanted nothing to do with it.
Yeah. Oh, so not happy, just scared.
No,
Scared.
Like, yeah, get away from me with that.
See, all of the dogs I have had are like completely opposite, because we'll bring them out to the beach or we'll bring them to the camp, or like up behind the house we have that river. Dude, they love water.
Yeah.
Abby, my chocolate lab I had when we were growing up, she used to like hunt for rocks, as dumb as it sounds.
Yeah.
At the camp, there's like rocks like in the shallow area of the pool, and she'll walk into the pool, like probably like a foot deep, look around, she finds a rock underwater, she'll go underneath,
Get it?
grabs it with her mouth, comes back up, walks to the beach, drops a rock on the sand, goes and gets another one.
Yeah.
Dumb as shit.
That's
Dumb as it was the
crazy.
funniest thing. You can sit there and watch her pull out like 20, 30 rocks in an hour.
Yeah.
Oh, she was a machine. She just kept doing it all day.
We had a boxer growing up that instead of water, he would dig huge holes in the yard, and I mean, he'd come up with rocks that would weigh more than him. And it's just, like, where did you even find that?
The funny part was, like, we'd leave Abby out. You know what I mean? We have an electric fence. We installed one, so it was like she wasn't going anywhere. She knew there was an electric fence. So you could leave her out, and she wouldn't leave the house. I'd leave her out. I'd take the boat around, maybe do a couple trips, maybe, like, do, like, 20, 30 minutes of fishing, just here and there. Small shit. You come back, you go into, like, the shoreline. There's, like, a scrambled, like, line of rocks. She'll bring them, like, almost up to the chairs and then drop them, but she'll drop them in different spots. So it's like a little like rock or like a wall that
Yeah.
she built. Like
Maybe she knows something
what
we
the
don't.
hell?
Yeah.
She's trying to reinforce defenses.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Zombies are gonna come out of the water.
Yeah,
One
they
more
did it. They
Steve
did it in Minecraft, so it's possible.
Anything from Minecraft is possible.
Yeah. What do you think?
It's been a long one.
I think this is a good special. I'm glad that we have you on. Thank you for coming
Good to
on.
be here. Thanks
We
for
First
appreciate
guest.
it.
First guest. I definitely want to have you on
Yeah,
more.
definitely.
For
We're
sure.
gonna have you back.
Absolutely. Well, I think that wraps it up.
Yes. Thank you for watching.
Thanks for tuning in tonight. See you in the next one.